Bootleg Cosplay panel. I'm really excited to see everybody here and all of my wonderful panelists. One of our panelists got into a little car accident, so she's not going to make it, but everyone here has been cosplaying for a while.
Just a slight little fender bender.
She's fine. I probably would have lettered that differently otherwise. So I'm going to jump right in. My name is Lacey Bond. I go by Joy Goblin on the cosplay internet, and I'm a member of SheProp, which is a prop making and costuming community for women, two-spirit, non-binary folks, and other marginalized genders. It's a really awesome community. We have Discord, Facebook group, and there's a lot of really cool skill sharing that goes on. And in the spirit of skill sharing, I'm gonna run us through our awesome bootleggers, our cosplay bootleggers, and we'll get into what cosplay bootlegging actually is. I like to say it's how we hack stuff together, because you don't always have to build something all the way from the ground up. So, I've introduced myself. I'm gonna pass it over to Chrissy.
Hi, hello everyone. I go by Chrissy Lynn on everything, MX Chrissy Lynn. And I've been cosplaying since 2010. And sorry, I'm not fixing my gloves. I'm a fidgeter now. I'm just constantly moving. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so I'm also professionally, I'm a makeup artist with XR, a body painter, a wig stylist. I work on set productions from time to time, and I fabricate and I judge different costume contests all over the country. And I also produce the Cosplay National Championship at LA Comic Con. I like to put that in there.
Thank you. Oh, and can I also get pronouns as we do introductions? I am a she, her.
They, them.
Hi. My name is Kit. I'm Kitsune Anime on Instagram. I've been cosplaying since, I don't even want to think about it, honestly. It's been a decade or more, probably since I was 19. I know I don't look that old. My pronouns are they, them, and I don't know, do you want a fun fact? Or
Yeah, give us a fun fact.
An icebreaker? How about, the first thing that came to my mind is I used to do ballet, but then my ankles got really messed up, so now I can't do ballet. Yeah, rip. Yeah, rip. Yeah, rip my ankles.
Alexa?
Hi there, I'm Alexa. I go by Panelists Cosplay on Instagram. My pronouns are she, they. I've been cosplaying, I think, for 10 years now, which is odd to think about, but I love doing just bootlegging cosplay and just kind of mashing things together to work with budget. So that's why I'm here.
Hell yeah, brother. Laura.
Hi, I'm Laura, Laura McGregor. I don't have an Instagram, should probably fix that. If you count cosplaying from the first time I was watching Doctor Who, the Fourth Doctor, and Rowena was on, and I yelped and ran into my bedroom and grabbed a white dress and a white boa to be Rowena, then I've been cosplaying longer than anybody else on this stage has been alive. I've been cosplaying at conventions for probably 30 years, and now mostly do Star Trek, and sometimes Star Trek and Star Wars and Vulcan Jedi. But yeah, you gotta work with what you've got, and if you come up with an idea that doesn't exist, you have to make it.
Yep. That's how it works. So bootleg cosplay is, like I mentioned, hacking stuff together. I use the term garment hacking to refer to any kind of mashing stuff together, buying something prefabricated, hacking together thrift store finds, closet cosplay, stuff like that. We also do a lot of repurposing, reduce, reuse, recycle. I have been cosplaying, this is actually my 10th year as well, so yay, me and Alexa, high five. Stuff tends to get reused and repurposed a lot the longer you've been doing a thing, as I'm sure Laura can attest. We do a lot of thrifting, a lot of use of unconventional materials that you might not suspect go into cosplay. So what we're gonna do is each of us are gonna go over a project or a couple projects that we've done that we have hacked. And then we're gonna open it up to Q&A, probably in about 20-ish, maybe 30 minutes, depending on how eloquent everyone is. So I pulled cosplayers on threads for examples of bootleg stuff. So like this nifty cosplay was all stuff from a stash, including dinner napkins. This one on the right is a shower curtain. The Zelda, that's the word. can't think of character names. Anyway, bottom left, like thrifted materials, all kinds of stuff. My favorite is this Sylvanas cosplayer who just took apart a bunch of Halloween decorations for her stuff, and then the top left are all made of duct tape. All right, so getting into us. I'm gonna go first very quickly. So I cosplayed Steve Bonnet a few years ago from Our Flag Means Death. Yeah. And I started with a really basic Amazon costume that I wanted to make match the film version a little bit better, and the TV version does not have lace over the buttons, which I unfortunately found out those buttonholes had been cut like through the lace, so I had to take it all out and then learn how to hand sew buttonholes, which as someone with a hand pain condition was really exciting. But it ended up like looking really nice, and I learned a new skill, and I didn't have to build a cosplay from scratch. I think the only thing I like really made from scratch for this cosplay was the little rosettes on the shoulders, and I just kind of like looked up a Google, YouTube tutorial on how to make ribbon rosettes.
We love the University of YouTube in this house. We do.
Yeah. All right, Chrissy.
Oh my gosh, my nightmare fuels Let's talk about recycling, repurposing, and reusing for a second. I'm all about sustainability. So I like to reuse things from an old cosplay that I may want to retire and not want to sell. I do fabricate and I make things from scratch. I do sew and I've made stuff. It just takes so much time and I'm terribly busy. Unless I'm competing, I don't often make things from scratch. And I just want to preface here that you are a cosplayer. Anytime you put a costume on, you dress up and you play. Doesn't matter if you've made it from scratch, you've commissioned, paid somebody else to make it from scratch, or you hodgepodge, hot glued, and whiskied your costume together. You're totally a cosplayer. So don't let anybody ever tell you otherwise. 2K Games last year hired me to do Borderlands 4 costumes for myself and Dare Taylor. And I had less than 2 weeks to do it, and I said, challenge accepted. Now, most of those characters in those games have regular things like pants and shirts and jackets, things that I don't find you need to make from scratch if somebody else has already made it. So I hit the thrift stores, I took a lot of things in, I airbrushed a lot because I'm an airbrushed artist. I do some foam smithing, and that's usually just any kind of foam, cheap foam, craft foam from the dollar store even, the craft stores. I second-handed everything that you see there. And it was a nightmare, but it was fine, I got paid. I lied, I'm a dirty liar. I did buy that hat, and I did paint it because it didn't quite match what I wanted it to. And then because there was a little bit of budget, we commissioned Jessica Mills to do the gauge on the far right wig. But yeah, that's mostly all secondhand. I mean, you could just, if it looks bad, you give it a good paint job, it's beautiful, it's perfect. It has to photograph well, right? It has to be taking well, like photos and video. On the far right, that was a good time. Or far left, excuse me.
The boo-boos.
I love boo-boos. I deconstructed a onesie and added a hood and took leftover fabric. I cut off the legs and hot glued some buckram and an old crafty headband lying around doing nothing. And I made the ribbon and the ears. And yeah, we bought the teeth though. I will say I'm not making teeth today. Not today, Satan, no. But yeah, so anything that's also on there, I will reuse again. If it doesn't fit, I'll take it in, and I'll do it for something else, because you might see garbage, but I see gold. It's treasure, and I'm a hoarder, and things will live at home and do nothing until I know it's good. I'm gonna use it, and I will always use it. And then after 10 years, I have to toss it because it's never gotten used. But yeah, I like reusing things, and hot glue is your best friend. Just be mindful of temperatures, and things will fall apart. But we can talk about adhesives another time.
Yeah. Hey, you wanna run
Oh,
this
there's
movie?
more. Oh boy. Okay, the tuxedo mask on the far right there. I Amazon the cape. I already own like 3 tailcoats. Don't ask. And then a dress shirt. You don't have to make that from scratch. I do make capes though, but I didn't have the time or the bandwidth and felt like doing it. I already own a top hat. Yes, I own 3 of those too. Don't ask. I did add the buttons on the pants, or the rhinestones rather, and I just happened to have pretty much all that except for the rose. I think someone handed me that, and I was like, great, I needed this prop. Anyways, thank you. Same thing, regular clothes in the middle there for my casual rogue. I'd worn the spandex robe suit for so long, I was kind of getting over the fact that like she's always in a superhero suit, and I like to use the restroom easier, so I just used clothes I already had. The Ewok. Okay, who doesn't like a cute little sexy Ewok? Only me, apparently. I bought a swimsuit, and then I had fur, because of course I had fur at home doing nothing, probably from a blanket I cut up. And I hand stitched and used a machine to sew all that together. I did bead all the beading on there myself, and the ears, same thing, just glued, made a foam, like, you know, something if I'm taking a sheet of foam, I'm gonna go to the furthest corner of that piece of foam, cut off what I need, and then I'm gonna put that foam aside, because I'm gonna use that in another month. And same with Warblood, great thermoplastic. You can keep all the pieces you cut off and you can reuse them time and time again.
I have like a little stack of Warbler scraps that I just stick
You're
together.
gonna use those in 10 years.
In 10 years when I unpack my craft room.
Yes.
I'll talk a little bit about Jackie's Witchblade cosplay because it's really cool. This is an example of using unconventional materials. This is just made out of silicone caulking that she applied and like smooshed around with like a tongue depressor stick, let it cure, and then painted it. And it looks super good. And silicone caulking.
So comic book accurate, like it's exactly, yeah.
Yeah, it's an inexpensive material and you wouldn't necessarily think to use it, but she did.
It's good to fill in for, you can use it with thermoplastics and wood and foam too.
I was like, that's awesome. She also had a couple of things. It's a little hard to see what it is on the left, so I'll explain. These are pieces for a headpiece that are just bendable wire and hot glue that are going to be painted and then just incorporated into it. And it's going to look like fancy metal filigree, and it's just made of hot glue. And then another example of garment hacking is just altering something that you already have. So these shoes, she just cut the straps off of and put a little applique on the front. I forget which cosplay this is from, but I do stuff like this a lot. Like little tweaks to things that already exist are super awesome. Okay, Jackie, I have kids.
Yeah, it's me again. So this character is Les from Arcane, League of Legends, our anime series. She's this beautiful furry. I love her so much. I saw her for the first time second season, and I'm like, I want that one. But as you can see, she's very complicated. The way I kind of see cosplay when I'm looking at something like this is I break it down in my brain, and I can't sew to save my life, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, it's okay, I know. Thank you for validating me. So what I tend to do is I just gather a bunch of, like we were talking about, pre-made pieces, and I make it look like the way I want it to look like. So as you can see on the other bit here, I basically, it's literally a blouse, and then it's really funny, I found this, my genius sometimes. It's like that tube top back in like the 90s as a kid, that's like the stretchy fabric that you like wear, and that's literally like, it acts like a corset, so that's what that is. And then I have I couldn't tell if it was a skirt or pants, but it's like this flowy like skirt pant situation that I had to hand dye the bottom to. But I just piece things together. Yeah, there's a whole, there she is.
Yeah,
there she
that
is.
whole
Yeah,
thread.
there she is, yeah. And I basically just smashed her together with pieces that, I think the only handmade things that I did was like the hood, which is not, I basically, you know, the fun thing to do is actually steal patterns from clothes you already own. That's a fun neat thing to do. I have so many hoods for some reason. I already had a hood, so I went ahead and just patterned it onto fabric, and then made that like hood cowl situation. And honestly, it's just safety pinned on, because safety pins and hot glue will save your life sometimes.
That's what I did with my Ewok hood.
Yeah,
I was in that group with
yeah.
Missy, and I just was like,
Safety pin it on, yeah, exactly. And I also did a lot of painting. I love cell shading, and I love like hand painting, and the arcane art especially, it has a lot of that. So I really went ham on like the blouse on there. I think I
I added some foam pieces. Another fun hack that I like to do is I'll have the foam piece, like the piece itself, and then I will sandwich fabric into it. And then I literally just, I can't remember, I probably hand stitched it onto the front of the blouse, but it was just imitating that kind of pattern that she had on there because the blouse I had didn't have it. And then I hand painted everything. There's a lot of hand painting and dyeing in this situation here.
Painting and dyeing are like my top 2 ways of
Yeah.
garment hacking. I love dyeing things other colors.
Yeah. Always remember you can dye something if it's not the right color. And for the, you can go back to for the ears, I learned a new trick. You can use pastels to paint for, not paint it, it's temporary. Like obviously don't like rub it on stuff.
So like hair chalk.
Yeah, like hair chalk. Well, no, it's not hair chalk. It's literal like
Yeah, it's
pastel.
just pastels, but it's similar.
Like pastels you use for art. Yeah, like just like drawing. I just the tail that you see is completely all pastels because I really wanted that soft like gray and without like compromising the fur because you could like paint it with fabric paint, but it's going to like kind of like make the fur gross. So I like to use the pastel chalks. Yeah, I don't want to talk too much, so there's that.
All right. Tell us about Cassandra, Alexa.
Hi there. So this is my Cassandra cosplay from Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I loved her Hunters of Artemis armor, so my crazy brain decided to do that one. I love working with craft foam. That's my bread and butter. It's super, I don't know if easy is the right word because there is trial and error, but
There's a learning curve, but it's like pretty accessible, I
It's
find.
very
It's not
accessible.
expensive. There's a million tutorials.
yeah, it's very accessible, it's very inexpensive. There's tons of tutorials to figure out how to work with foam smithing. But depending on like the different like acrylic paints you use or how you carve it out, you can make it look like leather. You can glue fabric to it. So I used all craft foam to make a bunch of leather pieces, and then my favorite bit was in the top corner where I saved a bunch of soda cans because I'm unhealthy, had a lot. And there's a trick you can do with embossing and literally just with a pencil eraser, going back and forth on the front and the back and make whatever shape designs you want out of it. So I used a bunch of cut out soda cans and made all of the metal pieces in my armor. And then any fabric pattern I needed, I just got a bunch of fabric pens and just colored all day. And a fun trick you can do is you just take sandpaper and you can just rough up the edges of the fabric and it kind of gives a weathering pattern to it. So just little tips and tricks here and there.
That's a good distressing hack. I actually hadn't heard that before.
It's very handy. So
It's definitely
that's
cheaper
on
than
the
glass.
before and after one is where I used the sandpaper. So it made it more faded instead of just the bright marker color I used.
Nice. Yeah, thank you. All right. I forgot I actually meant to delete a couple slides and it didn't happen. Laura.
All right, so I mentioned I mostly do Star Trek these days, and I love the Nobulans from Enterprise. If you want to be a Klingon, you can find Klingon headpieces. If you want to be Andorian, you can absolutely find Andorian antennae. If you want to be Denobulan, it doesn't exist. This was my first try, and it was just air dry modeling foam. And it worked reasonably well, not great. Next time I do it, I'll do it differently. But you know, you just gotta practice, and you have to be, like anything else, you have to be willing to be bad at something before you can get good at it.
Yeah. How easy did it come off of that plastic mask that you use?
No problem at all.
Cool. All right.
And then on the right there, I mentioned you can find Andorian antenna anywhere, but I was on Star Trek The Cruise and I had my makeup professionally done by a wonderful makeup artist, Tom, who he said, I'm gonna do something fun. And he goes, I kind of imagine you as like a go-go dancer. So I have a habit of, if you ask my husband, overpacking. I like to say I am prepared for anything. So I went, oh, I'm an Andorian go-go dancer. went up to my cabin and threw together that because I happened to have all of that in my suitcase. As she was saying at the beginning, yeah, I might hoard a little bit.
We all do.
We all do.
It's part of the lifestyle.
Yeah, it is.
And then on the left there is my Vulcan Jedi. I was watching First Contact, and the end of the movie, the Vulcan comes out of the, sorry if it's spoilers for anybody, comes out of this spaceship, and I looked at him and I said, that's a Jedi. I'm like, you can't tell me that's not a Jedi. And I started comparing all of Vulcan philosophies and Jedi philosophies, and I decided that I needed to become a Vulcan Jedi. As Lacey was saying, you can buy things. So all of these pieces I bought off of Amazon, and anybody who's in the Star Trek fandom probably knows Takei. She's an incredible linguist who speaks Vulcan and who does Vulcan calligraphy. So I had her paint Vulcan on everything, every layer. The bottom layer has over the Vulcan heart, place of self. This layer down the back in chakra colors says, like a river, emotion brings growth even in destruction. This one says, logic tempers emotion, and this one says, emotion tempers logic. And on my beautiful velvet robe, which is way, way, way too heavy and hot to be wearing, it says, logic.
Just says logic. Just logic.
You know, right here it says very large logic, the foundation of civilization, but then has a very blinged out IDIC on the back because, you know, it's very logical to be blinged out. But like all of that, these are all just pieces on Amazon that I'm like, okay, but that looks Jedi-ish. That looks like it would be something a Vulcan would wear. That looks like, you know, and then just have her paint them. I always find that it's more the feeling of a character, like being screen accurate is amazing. And there are some cosplayers who put things together and they are absolutely screen accurate and it's just amazing. But if you can embody the character, if you've got something that, this is something that character would wear, even if it's not something they ever wore on screen. You know, you could totally imagine that person wearing that outfit and then you embody it. It works, whatever you've got, you just make it work.
Yes, I like to vibe cosplay. I mean, that's what I did with my outfit today. I'm cosplaying Loki tomorrow, but today I was just like, I have a Loki dress. I will accessorize it and do a little bit of like a Disney bound type moment, but not wear a wig because it's 86 degrees outside. I'm saving my suffering for Saturday when it's worth it. So we have Q&A, open Q&A. So if you have any questions about either the projects we've shown or about cosplay in general or unconventional crafting methods, please come on up. I'll give a couple of minutes of us just talking about things so that people have time to come and do that. I had a question for you guys.
I was going to say, talking about safety pins and hot glue, I sew. I actually sew. I love to sew fun, exciting things. I hate doing zippers. They're boring. So unless it's actually something that is functionally necessary for the costume, yeah, safety pins are good.
Yeah, safety pins actually, pins and safety pins used to be a very common part of dressing. So prior to the invention of the safety pin and the zipper, like you would actually pin your clothes together to wear them depending on what it was. Like this was very common in Regency and Renaissance, and like from the time we had manufactured metal pins that we could use to attach things to each other. So
because not everybody had maids to sew the garment together on you.
yeah. Chrissy, were you saying you were hoping that the question was?
I didn't say that at all.
Oh, okay. But what is your favorite cereal?
Since you asked, my favorite cereal, it changes because I'm a Gemini.
Of course.
Right now it's Cinnamon Life cereal.
Oh my god, I love life cereal. I can't eat it anymore because
Sometimes it's Fruity Pebbles, Cocoa Pebbles, Apple Jacks.
Pop Jacks? What is it? I like the Apple Jacks.
Apple Jacks,
Yes. The Orange Pops?
It's a riveting conversation.
Honey Nut Cheerios.
Honey Nut Cheerios are the goodies. Okay, I remember my actual question. And then I derailed myself again. But like, what's your favorite unconventional thing to make stuff out of? Like, I thought Jackie's using the hot glue for those little filigree details was really cool, and I've
Yeah,
seen
you
people
can
use
use
hot
hot
glue
glue
on
in
anything.
any, if you go anywhere and buy a silicone mold, it could be for cupcakes or cake. You can just throw some hot glue in there, and you have an applique, pops out, you know. So it's really cool. It's a cool concept. Just, again, reminds you, if you're cosplaying Phoenix, don't leave it in your car, because it will fall apart now.
Yeah, anything that will melt so that you can use it will also melt so that your cosplay falls apart.
Oh, I love saving the sports bras and bra padded inserts out of things. Those are great. You can do fascinators and headpieces. You can add and build on top of bigger things using this cushion in between your armor that's up against you. Add more shoulder pads to things. Always save those. Don't throw them out if you don't need them. That's what, yeah.
Yeah. I remember, Laura, you invited me to Star Trek The Cruise once, and you were like, you don't even have to bring any cosplays. I bring so many suitcases of stuff, we can just assemble you like one of, and she laid out like 4 different options of things that we can do because she just had whatever.
I have an entire costume closet. It was originally a sauna, but when we bought the house, it didn't have a working sauna, so I'm like, this is now my closet. I put a bar up in it, and that's my costume closet.
I wish I had a spare sauna to have a costume closet in. I'm like stuffing everything into one cosplay room, there's not space.
Going back to, just for some more tips, tricks, and tools, even if it's not like unconventional per se, say you don't have the skill set or the space to sculpt something, cast it, and mold it. Black magic is amazing. Any kind of air curing foam that you can use to warp and sculpt. And I made all those spikes on the gauge costume that I did on Dare for that Borderlands thing. Wearing Lobo tomorrow, and I did all my spikes because real spikes in metal don't exist this big, unfortunately. Out of that, and it weighs absolutely nothing.
Yeah, that's what I love. That's what I did the Nobulin out of. It's that, I mean, basically like that Crayola air foam, but you can buy it in just white. But even the Crayola stuff will work. And you just sculpt it into whatever you want. It's totally non-toxic. It doesn't half-gas in your dining room or wherever you have to do it. And you just leave it there to dry for 24 or 48 hours, depending on how thick it is. And voila, you can paint it.
Nice. What adhesive did you use for that prosthetic to keep it on?
Super glue.
I don't
Stop it.
No, actually, hang on. Don't do
that.
that. Super glue
Do not put that on your
No.
face. As the effects artist on this
is
table.
fine
No,
on your skin.
I was making a joke, don't listen to me.
I'm a nurse. I can't tell you how often my patients come back from the OR glued together. Maybe buy some Dermabond instead of super glue, but you know, yeah, just glue it on. But you can buy Telesis, you can use spirit gum, you can use, I mean, there's a ton of different things. Telesis is very expensive. It's really, really good, but it's very expensive. Eyelash glue. If you don't need it on for a long time, eyelash glue, that comes off really easily. Telesis does not come off really easily.
Okay, what's your favorite like unconventional thing to make stuff out of?
You know, there was a couple things on the list that I was just thinking about. One of them is, so when I actually like walk in for a cosplay, which I don't do often anymore, I go really, really horrific with the details. So, if I remember correctly, she has like 6 brushes on her apron. So I handmade all of them, because I couldn't find brushes that looked the same. Yeah, I know, it's crazy. I made all of the brushes on those aprons, on that apron. They're made of wooden dowels and like what is it, the air dry Model Magic. Yeah, literally like the tip of the brush is Model Magic, and then the dowel is like the handle, and then I just paint it to look exactly how I need it to be. So, you don't have to. You can use cheap materials to make things look the way you want it to look. And then also, I hopped on Amazon because honestly, I get sensory overload when I wear face paint, and I don't want to color my hands. I don't want to do it. So I actually hopped on Amazon and I got the colored gloves. They have a bunch of them, you know, white, red, blue, whatever. And I used that instead of painting my hands. Did I use that for that? Yeah, I did that for that. Yeah, okay.
We Love Color is also a great brand if you don't want to paint your skin. They full mesh bodysuits, gloves.
Yeah,
sleeves,
I'm actually wearing that.
leggings.
Yeah, colors on there too, yeah, so I don't have to do it every time.
Yeah. I see we have a question. Hello.
Just a question for, I think that's
Oh,
all.
can we get the mic on?
Hello? Oh,
Yeah, there we go.
Hi.
Yeah, just one question for Alexa. You were talking earlier about the embossing you did with the soda cans.
Yeah.
Just wondering if you could go a little bit more into detail on that process. Like, are you using like a deburring tool on the edges?
I'm literally just using a number 2 pencil eraser. That's all you need. There's a bit more trial and error because it is metal. So it's kind of less forgiving than like foam or fabric in ways, but if you just save up any aluminum cans as a way to recycle, then you'll have a lot of material for doing all the trial and error with. But no, it's literally just cutting out the can. We cut the top and bottom off, get yourself the rectangle of it, and you just draw with a ballpoint pen whatever your design is that you want, and you just take the pencil eraser and you just start rubbing at it, and it starts bending out the metal, and then you just flip it back and forth to push down some things, pull out others, and it's just a little time consuming, but it's not horrible if it's little pieces. So I mean, that top one was a practice piece I did for nothing. But the actual moon and the arrows went by fairly quickly because it's not a complicated shape, but it's a fun material to try and figure out and use, and it definitely is a cheap way to use metal without buying more expensive forms of metal to include, and it's very lightweight.
Thank you.
Of course, thank you.
Hello, I love your whole look.
Hi, thank you. I guess this is just to help me and maybe anybody else. Are there any materials or things that you would definitely stay away from, or you would just try? Like, have you had experience with stuff that was like, this doesn't work at all?
There's
That's-
definitely
I mean, I'm gonna come at it from a safety point. Don't do anything inside your sealed up apartment that
Yeah.
contains every toxin and every, don't use any glue inside if you can. Yeah, hot glue is one thing, but if you're gonna go out, or you're gonna use a spray 90, spray 7, spray anything, yeah, contact cells and
Yeah,
then large.
E6000 outside.
Yeah, 6,000, get a ventilator and, yeah. But also be mindful, certain glues will eat certain materials and paints.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can definitely find a lot of things online of what glues not to use with certain things. There's a lot of stuff online that tells you all that.
Yeah, spray painting foam is also hazardous depending on what spray paints you're
Yeah.
using on the foam and what kind of foam.
Yeah, you can't spray paint styrofoam, it'll just
Yeah.
melt it. I
If
found that out
if
the
you're
hard way.
working with silicone, the only thing that sticks to silicone is more silicone. So you can't just acrylic on top of anything silicone.
I do find that, like, I mean, we were talking about like what not to use, but like foam is a super like easy to work with material. Thermoplastic is more expensive, like Warbla and stuff. It's more expensive and not as forgiving. So like if we're comparing commonly used materials, I generally go with foam if you're like trying to learn a new skill or build something that you're not super comfortable with yet.
Especially if you make a mistake, that's a 60-cent piece of foam instead of the
And if
thermoplastic.
you're using a rotary tool or like a Dremel on foam, please do it outside. Because it
Yes.
will get everywhere and then.
Wear
it'll get in
a
your lungs.
mask.
Yeah,
Please don't breathe in.
especially if you have
Yeah.
pets too.
Thank you.
Safety first, thank you.
Safety first.
Hey.
Hi, I want to know, I'm trying to sell for wigs. I want to know what kind of material like sprays you guys use to sell it.
Okay. Typically, my favorite thing that I have done recently that I don't know why I haven't been doing like this whole time is I don't freaking remember what it is. It's that heating tool. It's the one that like
The cripper?
Cripper. Yes,
Yeah.
I love crimpers. Crimpers will give you volume. Crimpers will like I actually crimp this wig. It just helps the wig so much with volume and the shininess of it too. So heating tools is really nice. But always get a crimper that you can adjust the temperature, and don't go ham until you know you're not going to melt your wig.
I'll give you a little wig 101 in about 1 minute long. The minute you buy synthetic wig, because they're all synthetic, don't buy human hair, you're wasting your time and your money. You don't need anything human. You're gonna wash it. you have to wash it.
Disinfectant.
You're gonna use a product called SheProp. This is a brush cleaner. This is what salons use. It's a disinfectant. It'll take off what is called sizing on top of that wig. It's a clear coat on there. You're not allergic to it until you know you're allergic to it. So wash that wig. Next, a lot of synthetic wigs have gotten a lot better in terms of quality and being able to take hot tools to them. We use steamers at home, handheld portable steamers. A lot of the teasing and making your synthetic wigs big and bulk so you can then go in and sculpt the styles. We backcomb, we tease the F out of them, we steam them, we put them in our refrigerator, believe it or not, we let that cool, we're in a hurry. And then we brush it all out, and then you have a pliable, malleable, amazing wig to do stuff with. Now yes, you can use a crimper, and you want to use it on the crown and the roots of the wig. You don't have to crimp the entire thing, depending on the style of the wig. But test it first, because it might not be heat safe. Next, the can of spray paint, hairspray. No, you can spray paint, but don't airbrush. Got to be big yellow can. That is your best test hairspray you're ever going to use on your synthetic wigs. Don't spend money on wig spray or brands that make styling tools and hair care for wigs, because you don't go cheap. Get a little Aquanet in there if you want to get real fun. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hello, so my question is, looking back on your guys' first cosplay, what do you guys feel about it, like reflecting back on it?
I want to remake my very first cosplay.
My first
And
cosplay doesn't exist.
It's not and it's not Catwoman. That was done easy. I'll do her over and over again for the rest of my life. But I was Mad Harriet from the Female Furies in DC Comics in 2010. And I'm like, what I know now? Oh, yeah.
My first cosplay was Ed Elric from Full Metal Alchemist, and looking back on it, the only thing I liked was the faux metal arm I made. Everything else was really bad. But as Laura said, the whole point of art is it has to look bad first before it looks good. That's the whole point of learning, because there's no point in not having a bad run to get to where we all are at. So. No, I definitely want to remake it now, knowing all of the much better skills that I have.
And not just the skills. You couldn't walk in anywhere and buy foam or Warbler when I started. I'm very old.
Oh,
Yeah, you gotta like do folklore online. You're calling up your girly pops. You're like, hey, if we get 10 sheets of this jumbo like Warbler, we get $10 off. I'm all bet. Let's go. And now see it in 5 weeks.
Rolls of foam at Michael's now.
Yeah. That's great. Everything's sub-dyed. There's so many. And then, like, I didn't make this costume. I did buy it secondhand off a friend of mine. MickCostumes.com. Very great. I did modify some things and tweak some things, but anyway.
But yeah, actually, now that I've mentioned my Rowena cosplay when I was like 8 years old, now I'm like, hey, maybe next Gallifrey.
Hey, next galley, I'm gonna be looking for that. I think my first cosplay was like a pin-up Loki with a dress that I just like had, and I had ordered a pair of like really stylized horns, and just like since then I've done 87,000 different Loki variations. So they just all kind of roll into each other. I'm really happy about it.
The canon amount of Loki.
Yes.
A canon amount of Lokis, that's correct, yes.
I haven't seen you be alligator Loki
Oh,
yet.
yeah,
Do you
that's
want to
true.
borrow my
Yeah.
horn?
I would paint your body to
Alligator
Lindsay
win.
Thank you for the question.
Hello. I have a question. So, how would you do like gloves or paws or like stuff that articulates a lot?
Is this for a specific character or a specific type of paw?
Or like fox paw or like wolf paws or like just furry paws.
Furry paw, yeah. That's how you can say it. We're all we love our furries. Give it on.
Yeah, I mean,
Shall I just go that?
she doesn't have paws, unfortunately. She does have paws. I actually bought those though. That's another thing. Don't be ashamed of going on Etsy. And there's so many cool furry artists who make such cool things, and it's always good to buy local.
There are probably even some downstairs.
Yeah.
Honestly, go look and see if you can find it.
You just want them to move, don't you?
Even if you're not going to buy them, look at them. If you can find somebody who's made them down there, look at them.
Mhm.
Look at how they're constructed. You're going to want to have very little like foam or padding on the underside, you're gonna wanna be able to do this. You can have the foam bigger on the top, and you can leave little, like, attach it to the glove that you have as your base. Like here on the flat parts, but leave spaces in between so that they'll bend, and then if you have stretchy material over it, then that'll cover the gaps. But yeah, go find somebody who's got them downstairs, look at them, explore them, see how they're made, ask them, because they're actually actively making them, or maybe not the person you're talking to, but whoever owns the booth.
Yeah, furries are really nice, honestly. So
Yeah.
even asking them how to make, they make some crazy stuff.
And they're excited, or if you see somebody dressed in a suit that you think is cool.
Hey, you guys, guess who just showed up?
Oh my god.
Jackie is here, and she's alive. She's alive. Not that deep.
The stairs are over
There's a
there.
curtain
Yeah,
behind the
curtain.
stairs.
I know. Good thing.
I saved a 7
From traffic.
Oh, man.
Oh, foam or buckram as a base. Buckram is
yes.
a millinery supply. It's what hat makers
And my
use.
misspelled
It is
name.
more expensive than foam. But if you were to get craft sheet
Wrong. They
or
always
the
do
craft
it.
foam and sheets, you can glue them on top for density. But I usually just cut them out and then I glue fabric to them. Sometimes if you want to use like, if you want to make them articulate, that's a whole other conversation. Animatronics is a separate conversation, for sure.
I hand made those ears actually because I told you I went crazy with details. There wasn't ears I could find that like fit. So that's Warbler. The base is Warbler, and then I just put fur over it, and then I also used that chalk method on the inside. I actually didn't use two different furs. I just used the white, and then I just literally went ham with pastels in there to make it work. I had trouble. You know how they're huge, they're big ears. So the Warbler actually helped a lot, and I think I cheated. I actually have a really hefty headband in there, stuck it on top of the wig, and then have the hood all over it too to keep it up. So they're kind of wiggly, but they stay on.
Yeah, my Ewok and my Labubu headbands in underneath the hood.
Yeah. Yeah, to keep it stable.
No,
No, I wouldn't use cardboard for these.
Not that
Too
size.
heavy. Yeah, they're too heavy. You can use cardboard for smaller ears though. Like that's
You can also layer cardboard. You can stack anything. I concur.
Thank you. I want to take this next question, and then I want to have Jackie talk a little bit about that awesome Witchblade film. Hi.
Any tips for like just making props out of like foam, like cardboard, anything?
There's a channel on YouTube called Evil Ted. If you've ever heard of him, he is like master foamsmith. He does a lot of tutorials, breaks a lot of things down. I will say, because everyone's limited on their resources and their materials that they can afford and what they can find, YouTube is going to be a great place for that. But I will always preface it with buyer beware. Make sure someone's doing something safely and outdoors if you're inside as needed.
I actually just brought something that is made of foam right here. This is EVA craft foam. This is part of my Thrist cosplay. It is layered like a cake with some Plastidip to give it that smooth finish, because EVA is an open cell foam. So if you wanted to have that nice smooth texture, use Plastidip, whether it is the Plastidip that you literally dip or the spray. If you use the spray, definitely do at least 4 layers with it to give it that nice smooth texture. If you want, yes, thin layers, and then go for the Gaussian, just like the really, really thick one after a while. If you want something that has like a little bit of a raised texture on it too, get some puff paint and just do all of that nice, beautiful texture, that like the little details, and you can use a toothpick to really fine tune your detail in there. As far as like, working with foam on top of foam, that sort of thing. If you want to curve your foam, you can use a heat gun or something a bit more gentle. Use a hair dryer, which is also readily available. Use maybe like a wood block, something that's heat friendly that can go over it to kind of curve. Use like maybe oven mitts to kind of help go over it, that kind of thing. And if you have like something cool like an ice pad or something that can go over it immediately help shock it into place also helps.
I have one more question, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Any tips for like making like weapons out of foam stuff?
Do you have a particular weapon that you're making, or just in general?
Yeah, just in general.
The craft foam and the cardboard are definitely helpful. The cardboard you can pretty much construct any shape out of as a base, and then either get the Model Magic air dry clay and just fill in any of the leftover gaps, or making any of the more odder shapes on, like more anime weapons tend to have. I cosplay Bash from Truck and Stampede, and I literally bought a giant Nerf water gun, and I deconstructed it and changed a couple parts, but it ended up in just spray paint and painted it, and it looks like his. So it doesn't have to be anything too complicated from just the base starting point, but cardboard's usually a pretty good starting base of just making that skeleton first, and then just building on it with whatever you find. You can save like water bottle caps if you need like a disc shape on it, and just glue it on. Stuff like that.
The googly eyes for ribbons. We saw
Yeah.
googly eyes for
Yeah.
ribbons.
Yep.
Dollar store guns. I made some.
Yeah, on my
And you can use
armor,
craft foam to build on top of
Yeah,
the
craft
existing
foam.
toy gun too. Yeah. And if you like,
you just
no one
coat-
likes this, but if you
coat
like
it.
reading and making patterns, online there are tons of tutorials for using patterns to create like three-dimensional objects with foam.
And if you want it to be stronger, like not just cardboard, like have you ever made paper mache?
Yes.
So you take the cardboard and you put glue on it, and then you can cover it with something like even just tissue paper, and then glue, and then tissue paper, and that way you build up on it so that you don't just have that flat thing, and it also gives it a lot more stability. If you whack somebody with a cardboard sword,
I was gonna add, in terms of like stiffening a weapon, wooden dowels to
Yeah,
go
or
down the
PVC.
middle of them so that your cardboard or foam doesn't just like collapse is a big one.
You can-
And then if we're working with foam, barge contact cement is like the kind of gold standard of getting it to actually stick to itself. You can totally use hot glue, especially if you're trying to like learn a new skill. It's a little cheaper and more readily available, but contact cement is rad.
Yeah. A hot glue will eat through the foam if it's in excess.
You can also, for the sake of filling and keeping your prop light, you can fill with either aluminum foil or cheaper. You order from Amazon or any kind of packaging, like the paper packaging, just fill it with your paper, just for the sake of filling and keeping it more light and durable and steady. That is also an option if you don't have foam to fill it with. So, yeah.
I think for the first question, like the tools that come to mind for someone who's just starting with foam is an X-Acto knife will always save your life.
and a cutting mat,
Oh,
self-healing cutting mat.
I'll be
to
honest,
use.
I'm not gonna be honest with you, I use cardboard.
Yes, just use cardboard.
I use cardboard, because cutting mats can be expensive.
Yes.
If you know
And
someone you hate
Mod
and
Podge.
you want to use their floors,
Yeah, I do that too.
use the enemy's floor.
Last one, my friend's done. Yeah.
Don't do it to your own floor.
I also use Mod Podge too as like
Hate
a
money
basic seal,
and don't
so.
want
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can seal with Mod Podge if you can't swing plastic in. It's not as flexible, but like it works.
Yeah, as something like basic tools for foam, I would say X-Acto knife and Mod Podge for sure.
Yeah.
And a heat gun or a blow dryer. Blow dryer.
Yeah, heat guns are not that expensive. You can get them for like cheaper than a blow dryer sometimes. Harbor Freight.
Blow dryer, you're gonna have a
Thank you. Okay, since Jackie is here, I want to have you talk about the silicone caulking witchblade cosplay a little bit. How did you decide to use this?
How did you keep it on?
Oh, Staples, hope,
Staples.
green. No, so, silicone caulking, it's fun, it's easy, it's readily available at most hardware stores. So silicone caulking, or latex caulking is readily available at any hardware store. What I did was I made a body form of literally my body, resin body form, with my ex-boyfriend, lucky him. So we just literally made a plaster bandage cast of my body and made a resin cast of it, and then I took silicone caulking and just took a toothpick and just did the designs and then stripped it off, and then took silicone adhesive and glued it to my body with silicone adhesive, and that's how I adhered it to my body. But with the glove in particular, I took a dishwasher glove, a regular dishwasher glove, and just took the silicone caulking and put it all over it, slathered it all over it, and then just did the designs on there. And that's how I got the glove. Just really all it is just experimenting and doing it. Nobody, as far as I knew, did it before. And it worked. And it kind of went viral, and it kind of took off from there. So really, I bootlegged that costume and it went nuts. And you know, when it comes to working with materials that no one's ever done before, just go with it, research it, make sure it's safe. Don't let silicone caulking cure on your hands or on your body. That is not good. It's not good for your health. I don't recommend that. You know, research it, make sure that it's okay and safe to use. The silicone caulking that I used is paint safe, like it's paintable. It needed 72 hours to cure completely in order for it to be able to be painted on and everything. It does have a lifespan. So after a while, it does break down. So I had to make new witch blades. I had to make a new gauntlet. So, you know the lifespan. It's like any other costume. Your costumes aren't forever. You know, they're not like diamonds. They're not De Beers. They're not made by
Not with that
Cartier.
attitude.
Not yet.
I still have my Tinkerbell cosplay. What do you
Yeah. But yeah, but discovering new materials is always fun. So, you know, always ask other people, like silicone caulking is used in other mediums. People have used it for kind of like a shellac with EVA foam. People have used it to seal seams between, for like props, for armor, that sort of thing. I've used it for armor as well, like for detail. I've also used it for props to make kind of like a wooden texture. Like if I'm making kind of like a grapevine kind of texture in something, I've done that for props. Like experimenting is, how dare you? No, just experiment with materials in all types of, in all sorts of mediums, and you'll find new ways to bootleg and all that. So yes.
Thank you.
Thank
for talking
you.
us through that.
Sorry, I'm very dehydrated right now.
Oh, drink your smart
I can
water.
drink my-
It's
it's very
good for your
smart.
health. All right, I'm gonna go down to, I'm just gonna show you again where we all can be found on the internet. And I'm gonna do my final plug for the SheProp community. If you wanna join, please come talk to me afterwards. I can get you hooked up. And thank you to all of my panelists. You're wonderful, and I always love having conversations with you.